And also, I worked on my life story chronology yesterday, and I updated it because it was a little outdated. Some of the stuff in there did not reflect the latest information that I got from my men. And I have put that basically, I'm going to have a link for that underneath this video. But I feel it's necessary to counter all the Jesuit lies out there about me and my men and my love life. And there's a lot of them out there. Let me tell you what I really believe is going on. Zack Knight is playing God. And he is the future Antichrist. Jesus Christ has told us that. And what I believe happened was, before the Jesuits sicked Laurie McBride on Brent Spiner in September 1992, they planned in advance, like they always do. They meticulously plan everything. And what Zack Knight did is, I believe if he didn't invent the internet, that he is the one who made it big. Zack Knight, I'm not sure when he became head of the Jesuit order, but my guess is it happened in the 1990s, sometime in the 1990s, or maybe the latter 1980s. He is the actual head of the Jesuit order, and yes, the Jesuits do have women agents. They've got a public front and a real front. In other words, they're like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The public sees the Mr. Hyde version, but the real Jesuit order is the public sees the Dr. Jekyll version, and the real Jesuit order is the Mr. Hyde. Behind the scenes, they're sinister. They've got technology that's so advanced. The reason we don't know about the cloning technology, the brain reading, and all the new cockies and all this stuff is because the Jesuits invented the internet. Okay, I really believe that. I believe they invented the internet. And since they invented the internet, they control what comes up on the internet. You may say, well, if that's the case, they would totally ban you. They can't do that. That would be a dumb move. If they did that, it would be too obvious that they control the internet. So they're basically controlling the internet and what you see on the internet, but they're doing it in such a manner to make it appear that they're not doing that. So they're allowing some negative comments about them to make it to the internet. I am the one they're most worried about, because I know more about them. I am exposing more about them than anybody else. Anyways, what they did was they created the internet to prepare for Laurie McBride. When Laurie McBride came on the scene, they used her to drug rape Brent Spiner, using brain control through the drugs, so that when he was making love to her in September 1992, he thought he was making love to me. He was devastated. He didn't know what was going on. At that time, we didn't know about clones, we didn't know about their brain control drugs, and we didn't know that the Jesuits were so obsessed with world power. They've kept this under wraps because pretty much they control their own publicity. They control the internet. So, of course, what happened was Laurie McBride got into Brent Spiner's life. She drug raped him, threatened to kill me if he wouldn't grant her public girlfriend status, and eventually she weaseled into wife position, getting the cooperation of Jesuit-run Paramount Studios. Now, all of this is in my life history, which you can see underneath this link. Okay? You might say, well, how come we don't know about this? How come the news isn't reported? Because the Jesuits control the news and the internet. You say, well, how can that be? That's very simple. That's why when I publish a very good book, even if it wins a Nobel Prize, I only get like $5 or so a year, or at least that's how much I made, I think, for Silver Skies the first year it went out. Hey, the book's not that bad. And I knew people who bought the book and told me they bought the book, and there I didn't get a record of that sale, which I thought was really strange. So I know I made a lot more money than $5. So what the Jesuits did is they create their own Jesuit clone version of the internet. Zack Knight, I really believe, invented the internet. If he didn't, he's the one who made it big. He's a computer genius. He's also the head of the Jesuit order, the real authentic head, and he has much more power than Pope Francis, who's his stooge, his puppet. Okay? He's using Francis as the puppet. Francis has to be in submission to Zack Knight. Zack Knight is over Pope Francis. Anyways, a lot of this stuff is in the chronology. So basically, let's say I sell a book. What happens is Zack Knight has several cloned versions of the internet that he puts out there. He's got one particular version he wants you to see, one he wants me to see, one he wants everybody else to see. For instance, Bill O'Reilly, let's say he wanted to make a comment on one of my YouTube videos. He might make a comment, But I don't think he would publish it, though, because he's a little... the Jesuits would probably use death threats on Bill O'Reilly if he tried to comment on me. But let's say he did try, okay? If he did try to comment on one of my videos, what would probably happen would be that Zack Knight would say, ooh, we don't want this. This is going to give Gail credibility. We don't want even Bill O'Reilly to even acknowledge that this woman exists. So what we're going to do is we're going to let Bill O'Reilly think that his comment got published. So Bill O'Reilly goes on the internet and he sees one clone version of the internet and it shows that he published his comment under my YouTube video. Well, guess what? The version you see and the version I see, we don't see that comment. So Zack Knight lets Bill O'Reilly have one version, and then you guys see another version, and then I see another version. Therefore, Bill O'Reilly's comment goes unnoticed, and Bill O'Reilly thinks his comment got published, and it didn't. Not only that, he controls the likes and dislikes under the videos. He says, well, I can't make it all dislikes right now, because that would be too obvious that I'm controlling everything. But he's still kind of nervy. He'll put up... He's flooding a lot of dislikes on there. He's thinking, I'm hoping if I put enough dislikes on each of her videos and allowing those to go through, and he's blocking all the, maybe the 1,000 likes that want to go through. He says, nah, I'll let them see that on their version, and they think their likes made it. But what he's got, I really believe he has a sophisticated computer program that determines which likes and dislikes everybody sees when they check out my video. He's trying to create an impression, so that when people look at my YouTube channel, the overall impression he wants to give everyone is paranoid schizophrenic. So even though I actually have over 1 million views to each of my videos, what you see is Zack Knight's clone version of the internet. And what he'll do is, like, he might have up to 500,000 different clone versions. So one guy would look at the internet and he's saying, well, there's my comment I made in Bush. She's not getting a lot of hits. Oh, well, you know. And then another guy's seeing another version, and another person's seeing another version. If you put all the versions together and accumulate and put them all together, my hits would be over 1 million. But Zack Knight's not going to let that happen, okay? So this is what's going on, and why I'm not able to why I'm not getting my writing money. Okay, Amazon gets one clone version of the internet. They look at their what's coming in through sales. Wow, she's not selling her books real good. Oh, well, what can we do, you know? Well, what's going on is Zack Knight has created a clone version of the internet where one clone version funnels all of my monies to Jesuit banks. And so Zack Knight's rolling in the dough, getting all this money from my writings, and it's going secretly being pocketed into Jesuit accounts using his clone version of the internet. And he's saying, see, she just didn't sell her books well. And what actually happened is that with the clone version that goes to the Jesuit banks, Amazon or my publishers don't see that. They see the version that Zack Knight created for Amazon. So Amazon looks at the internet sales like, wow, dismal. She's hardly selling anything. I guess everybody thinks she's crazy, you know. And then Zack Knight's rolling in the door saying, and then if she says that we clone the internet, we'll just say she's crazy, that it's not possible. Yeah, it's possible. It's exactly what he's doing. Anyways, just be aware of that, okay? Zack Knight invented the internet. He has different clone versions out there deciding which likes and dislikes make it. You say, well, you are getting some comments from some of your Russian fans and you're claiming that the Russian version is different from the American version. You better believe it, man. Well, just about everybody in Russia knows that I'm like Vladimir Putin's wife, you know, and that they know that his wife's name was Larissa and not Ludmila, but the Western version doesn't. The Zack Knight doesn't allow those Russian commentators to make it into the Western version of the internet. So over in Russia, they hear one story, and over here on the West, we hear another story. But he's allowing some of the Russian commentators to go through, you know, like Ivan Raskolnikov. And he's thinking, well, I think I'll let Ivan through because he comes off a little off-balanced, and maybe that will create the impression that the only Russians that like Gail are the cuckoos like herself. And the other Russians, you know, that might appear a little bit more sane, he's blocking their comments. They're not making it through to the Western version. See, this is what's going on, folks. He's controlling what you see. And what you see and what I see may not be the same. And what you see and what some Russian sees over in Moscow when they go on the internet may not be the same. They're all looking at the same YouTube video, but the presentation is going to be different depending on which clone version of the internet Zack Knight is using on them. He does this to steal my writing money, to control his publicity on Laurie McBride. So the cloned version of the internet that the West sees, you go to Wikipedia, it says that Laurie McBride is the wife of Brent Spiner, even though there's overwhelming evidence that this is not so. You look at the Western version, it says Camila Alves is the wife of Matthew McConaughey, even though maybe the version over in Russia says something different. You say, and this is how he controls the publicity over his agents to make sure that his agents, Jesuit Ludmila, Jesuit Camilla, Jesuit Laurie, get the publicity that he wants them to get to make them believable as the spouses of the men who are on my marriage list, and also to make me appear crazy. Anyways, just read my life history underneath this video, and it sums up my life, and it's truth. It is true, okay? Zack Knight's of course going to discredit it and say it's crazy, but I'm not. And it's like Jesus said, haters going to hate, Gail. You're not going to be able to convince everybody, and people that are evil are going to stay evil. But just go ahead and tell your story. Tell it from your heart, Gail. So basically, I'm allowing like a chronology of this. When you read a biography at the end, it goes by year. Like I have something here on Catherine the Great, and at the end of the book, it talks about. It kind of summarizes her life year by year, and that's what my chronology is. But I'm going to be writing books that go into the heart and soul of what we went through as we went through major events in our lives. And I've already done that with The Forbidden Abyss, and we'll be doing that with the sequel. And with the short story I'm writing about Matthew McConaughey and how Camilla strapped a bomb to his chest and threatened to blow him up if he wouldn't give her sex. That's how she got all 3 of her babies, by the way. Using that method. And you say, well, I can't believe how could... Anyways, it'll be in my stories about him, okay? And in my next book. There's not room on this video to go in depth on that. But that's actually what happened. And Camilla could sue me in court over that, and she would lose because you can't claim defamation if what I'm saying is the truth, which it is. You say, well, Matthew kind of kept that from me because Camilla threatened, I think, to kill me if he told me. But Brent Spiner spilled the beans and told me the truth. Matthew's scared to death of Camilla. He finds her very nauseating. I believe he was throwing up the whole time that he had sex with her. Can you imagine having sex with somebody with a bomb strapped to your chest? That's really what happened to him. Anyways, just go ahead and read my chronology. It's all there. Check out my website. It's fantastic right now. And go to the About section for this YouTube channel. Check out my links. I've redone some of them. I have been working so hard. I'm going to get back to work on my writing, but right now I had to work on my website to save it from disaster because the Jesuits tried to shut down One True Media to mess up my website, and I couldn't allow them to do that. They knew that half the videos I had at One True Media, at my website were One True Media, and they wanted everyone to go at my site and see a bunch of blanks down the page and links that didn't work, so I fixed that. My website's working great now. So.